resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
Well, hello, my next level friend. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Artist Next Level podcast. This is a special edition episode in which I am interviewing artists from around the world as they are stuck at home during the coronavirus lockdown. Today, I'm super excited because I have here with me all the way from Tel Aviv, Dan Reisner. Hi, Dan. How are you today?
Hi, Sergio. How are you doing?
I am doing great. And thank you so much for making time in your day, which for you is kind of your afternoon. As for me, it's the morning, to be here with us, to share your story, what's happening, in that side of the world as we all deal with this together. And it's great to see you.
It's great to see you as well, Sergio. And I'm following your videos and they're really great.
Dan, why don't you tell us first a little bit, what's the situation for you in Tel Aviv right now?
There is a lockdown, but I cannot say it's total. People can go out to buy, to the supermarkets or things like that. And also can go and do some sports activity, or you can walk your dog around. But they definitely won't let a lot of people gathering or things like that as well. So you see the police around asking people to take more care. Mm-hmm. But they are thinking of going towards a total lockdown soon. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it goes,
Okay, good. And so for you as an artist, as you have, gone through all of this as we all have, how are you adapting to this new way of working? In your case, as a sculptor, right? How are you adapting? Do you normally have a studio away from home, or is your studio at home already? What's your situation?
Yeah, well, my studio is in a very beautiful neighborhood in Jaffa in Tel Aviv. Mm-hmm. 4 minutes away from the beach, and I live above my studio.
Oh, so, wonderful!
Yeah, I'm really very lucky. So, and I really know how to appreciate it because I just walk down the stairs and I'm in my studio. So, I think this is like the way we artists we know how to be in confinement. Mm-hmm. This is not our problem. We are creative people, and we know how to work with these situations. I think at the same time that we are struggling, we can also see some really amazing things that are happening around the world. Mm-hmm. First of all, we still can appreciate very much this possibility of us being in this kind of dialogue in the very, in the very moment. And also to appreciate that once we are in this kind of lockdown, all the people, the world can start to breathe. Really see how nature knows how to, when they saw about China, that suddenly there was much less pollution.
Right.
Dolphins came to swim in the Bay of Venice. And all these amazing things that are happening in the same time that this tragedy is happening. Mm-hmm. I think this is the way that I look at it as an artist. I mean, I can see both sides, and actually, I can say that for the last 20 years, I've been developing from my own private story. I've been developing kind of method that deals how we change in life, and how can we change in life through art, and how art can be actually a way to cure our own selves. And create change, and in a way also to embrace change, and to understand that the most constant thing maybe in life is change. Yeah. So if we know how to understand this, that the most constant thing in life is change, so we are just moving from one story to the other, and we don't take it in a personal level, and we understand that we each time need to be creative and recreate our own selves into the new situations that we enter all the time.
Right.
Preferably, we would like to create better, better stories, but sometimes we manage and we can control our stories, like the things you teach, how to control the way you develop.
Yeah.
And sometimes the stories are bigger than us, and we need to know how to control our stories within a bigger story.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I totally agree, and I think you're giving some great points there. We're talking about how this whole situation has helped us kind of stop or from our track of almost like this fast-paced self-destruction as we are polluting the earth, as we are hurting each other, as we are kind of running from place to place, and kind of this invisible microorganism to us, where we feel the strongest. Now all of a sudden we are so vulnerable, and how is not a big force that's visible, but it's something that's invisible to our naked eyes, and how that has helped us, as you mentioned, to also get in tune with ourselves, with the people that we love, with the relationships that we have fostered over the years, with nature, right, as we see, because as we heard, nature continues to thriving, right, and that's a wonderful thing. And something that we talked about earlier, even before we started recording, is like now a walk through the park feels so different. Even a walk outside and looking at the beautiful blue sky, it feels so different than it did before, because we're always walking around like this, not even looking up. So
you stand, I was walking last night with my wife to the beach, and we were standing in front of this amazing ocean, and I was telling her, listen, if this would have been something that the people of Earth, have decided we're going to shut down everything for 2 months, we would have said, this is the most incredible blessing you can receive, right? That you can just go into a mellow kind of also state, an inner state. You can, it's much easier to say, okay, this morning I'm starting with meditation, I'm looking at the world, I'm going out. There's no, there is some kind of lowering of the tension. Which is not only, I think, curing the world as nature, but also for us,
ourselves,
in this unstable, crazy situation, we can find these moments where we can receive really some amazing gifts. There's no other word to say it. But
absolutely, totally agree. And we see behind you some beautiful pieces of works of yours. Look like your works based on the figure. Tell us maybe a little bit of how do you feel like what we're experiencing right now will impact your own work, or will influence or mold, as a sculptor, mold your work in perhaps new directions. Because I think all of us as artists, as we absorb what's happening in the world, eventually that's going to also come out in some way or fashion in the things that we're creating.
Yeah. So for the last 20 years, I've been developing a method of creativity.
Okay.
How do we create? From where do we create? And how can we find the core of our creative need? Which is really fascinating. There is nothing more fascinating than this, because this is our lives, right?
Right.
And the thing is, how can we find it in the most inner place from inside? And usually these places have to do with something broken inside, something of a need, something that you need to change. And you actually start to understand how change is such an important thing in our life. And for instance, this sculpture that you can see here on your right is I call this sculpture uplifting. And this is one out of about 60 sculptures, which all of them are self-portraits of me, myself, or I may say the different identities of the self through the different changes that we go through life. So in many ways, I've created a kind of a sculptural diary that each time takes the situation which I'm in life right now and brings it, as you said, casting it into the bronze, but you're casting it actually from the material, which is from totally within yourself, and you pour it into the bronze. And once it's there, it's actually there for the viewer, for our viewer. It's there because our viewer and our viewers who are creative people, just like us, but they have this kind of surrounding that they cannot bring their creation out. So this is our what we are in charge of. This is what we need to do. We need to help actually the viewer and to express the world for him. This is how I look at it. For me, the whole idea of art is a healing process for yourself, but also for the viewer, that the viewer can see something that maybe a moment ago he thought it's impossible. He can never do it in his life. And suddenly he sees a piece of art that inspires him, something that seemed impossible. Suddenly he sees it, and then he's like, wow.
Wow, exactly.
And he gets so excited from this moment because he suddenly noticed something that he could never notice before.
Yeah.
So this is something that for me is very, very important and centered in my art.
Wonderful. And I think, a moment like this where we're all going through, even the more important, that all this preparation that you have done of your work and your way of thinking and working kind of has led to this moment, right? Where this is the perfect time to say art could be a element of healing. And I have been preparing all my life for this moment and to provide something of value to our humanity.
I can show you another work.
Yeah.
Figures. Only this writing, which is in Arabic.
Okay.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.
The latest piece I just finished this week.
Wonderful.
So, the idea again is, how do you find this compassion again? For the whole story that we have spoken about, for the world. For the world, yeah. For your friend, for your family, and most of all, for your own self,
Right, exactly.
You'll say, okay, difficult times, you're allowed to breathe, you're allowed to relax, you're allowed to look, you're allowed to be in awe, or to be also frightened, or whatever feelings you have, because it's okay. These, like you said before, we bring all of that afterwards back to our canvas.
Dan, I want to say thank you so much. Tell us also, where can our friends find you on Instagram if they want to hear more about also the work that you do, maybe if you have your website. If you can share those things for us, that would be awesome.
Okay, so I'm on Instagram. It's Dan Reisner, just in one word. It's very easy to find. My website is www.danreisner.com. On YouTube, you can see videos of my works. Every sculpture that I finish, a large-scale piece, I make a kind of short video describing the whole process of the work.
Wow.
And of course, I'm on Facebook, and I'm welcoming new friends. It will be
Excellent.
great to meet people around the world and be in touch in these times. And thank you so much, Sergio, for having me in your program. I really love the work that you're doing. It's really important for our community.
Thank you for watching. Please share this episode with your friends so that others can also get inspired by these conversations. Thank you, and I will see you in the next episode of this special with Breakfast with Sergio. Goodbye. Bye, Dan.